Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Caruso III, and I am the publisher of the Capital Sports Report. I am also the host of the Capital Sports Report Live. Tonight, we are joined by former NHRA and IHRA top fuel dragster driver Doug Herbert, who now operates and is a huge part of the B.R.A.K.E.S program that he has dedicated his life to after losing his two sons. Welcome to the show tonight, Doug.
Hey, thanks, Anthony. Appreciate you having me on here.
Doug, how did you get started in racing?
Well, I guess when I was a kid, my first racing was had a big wheel, and my neighbor had a big wheel, and so we had races, and I just went from there. I guess racing from anything that was as soon as somebody else had something that could race me, I wanted to race, and my dad was involved in racing in Bonneville and drag racing, even Indianapolis, and I mean he did all kinds of racing back in the early racing days, and so it just kind of gave me the desire to go racing. And I started out racing bicycles and motorcycles, boats, and cars, and then I ended up being at the top of the heap, but racing top fuel dragsters. And my first year doing that was in 1991.
Yeah, you raced a whole lot of different things, and you see that a lot today with a lot of drivers. They have unique backgrounds where they either went through like junior dragsters and they worked their way up, or they just went to the pros, or some of them went boat racing, like
Right.
Keegan Kinsley and Sean Reed. They did boat racing and then came over to Top Fuel Dragster.
Yeah, I mean, generally you don't just start out racing a top fuel dragster
Yeah,
because let's face it, they're not the most forgiving things in the world, right? 0 to 300 miles an hour in
yeah,
3 seconds. It takes a little bit of concentration and a little bit of focus and a little bit of experience to not get yourself in trouble. I mean, the most important thing I've been asked plenty of times is, what is the most important thing about driving a top fuel car? It's knowing when to shut it off. You got to know when to shut it off and say, okay, we're in trouble here. So. Yeah, that is one of the most important things. And like you said on the opening, I mean, one of my my biggest wins have actually come off the track probably since then, and developing this safe driving program in memory of my boys. We started out just as you said to train their friends, and in 2008 we trained about 50 teenagers about being safer drivers, and now we're up to over 100,000, and it's been amazing. An amazing journey. We work with Dr. Paul Friday over at the University of North Carolina. He did a 5-year study for us that actually showed these teenagers that we've trained over a 5-year period are actually 67 or 64.7% less likely to be involved in a car crash. So I think what we're doing is working. It's neat, and my goal is to make sure that another parent doesn't get that phone call that I got, that their parents, that their teenagers were lost in a car crash.
wow. 64.7% less likely to be in a car accident. Wow. That's pretty amazing.
I'd have been happy if it was 1%. So that really makes me happy.
Yes. Did they reach out to you to do that study? How did that come about?
Well, one of my board members of the charity has a relationship with the professor over there. And, one of the things I got asked constantly was, well, what's your data? Oh, we get all this feedback, and, insurance companies don't care about that. Government agencies don't care about that. We needed actual certified data.
Correct.
And so we came up with that, and Dr. Friday over here at UNC helped us develop that, and working with the state and, to get all the data and get that worked out it was quite a project. It was about a 6-month project, but the results were incredible, and it's really helped grow the program.
Doug, you have won 10 NHRA national events. You won IHRA events. Do you miss competing?
I think I think I did it at a really good time. I was fortunate enough to be able to race the mongoose and the snake and Big Daddy. There's not a lot that I missed. I look out there and I go to the races these days, and I hate to say it, but I don't think it's as I think I was able to race in the best time. I don't know. I don't know. I miss the competition. I miss the thrill of the excitement, the victory and all that. I miss the performance of the thrill of driving the cars, winning the races. But, I'm not so much, not probably when 2014 was the last year that I raced. 2008 was the last year that I raced full time, and I really missed it a lot then. And then I think as more time goes by, you start realizing, well, there's other things to do, because when you're doing that professional racing, you don't have any weekends. Basically you work 24/7. You're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you're always doing something to make sure that the performance of the race car is good. You're working with your crew, your team. You're working with sponsors, you're going and doing things there. So there's really, it's your whole life. And, the point of my life, I'm 54 years old. I don't think that I really want to do that right now. I mean, then you got John Force, right? He's 70 years old and that's all he does. And he's the best, so I don't know. I think everybody's a little bit different, but I miss some of it. I miss my friends. I miss some of the things out there, but I'm not dying to go back and go do it again. I mean, if the right opportunity came up to go racing, that we could go out there and win a championship and win some races and have a good time. Yeah, I would sure think about that, but I'm not, it's not my huge goal right now.
And it's gotten younger. And you see a lot more younger kids coming to the sport today that's in the pro ranks.
Yeah, I think so. Let's face it. I mean, it's money. Money drives money drives it, and so it's when I first got in it, it was money for sure, but it was mostly a lot of really hard work and figuring out what you wanted to do and really have a dedication to it. I think now it's more, it's more money oriented, just like most racing has become.
You had a show. I don't know if you still do have it. It was called The Straight Line.
Yeah.
And you would bring on like NHRA guests onto your show to talk with Ralph Shaheen. I don't know if you still do it, but you did do it.
We had a great show on MRN. Ralph and I did a wonderful show. It was just a really popular show. It was a great thing. But, MRN is NASCAR. And I think when COVID hit and they were kind of had to make some hard decisions about things to cut, we were one of the things that got cut. And so unfortunately, the show went away and I miss it. I would like to come back around and do something like that again, especially with somebody, like Ralph. I mean, Ralph is he's a great guy and made the show a lot of fun.
And he's very versatile because you see him on motocross and supercross, and he does a lot of different broadcasting.
Oh yeah, I mean, he did drag racing for a couple of years. Like I say, supercross he did for years, and I know he's done NASCAR stuff. He's a great guy, very talented commentator, and I miss working with Ralph for sure.
In 1993, you were the second driver to surpass 300 miles an hour, going 301.60, and you were the first one to do it in eliminations. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that like it was yesterday. That was a great day. Racing Mike Dunn at Pomona, California, which was my hometown track. I grew up there, watched Shirley Muldowney and Don Garlitz and all these guys race. And then I got to be, that day we were the top of the heap. I mean, running that. I remember shutting the car off and the parachute came out and I was slowing down and I could hear the crowd roaring. It was that loud in the car. And so I knew somebody did something good. And Steve Evans was the first one to come over to me. And he's like, I was slowed down. He was giving me the sign, 3, man, 3. And I was like, 3. Wonder what he's talking about. And I went, whoa, 300. Awesome. So, Kenny Bernstein was alone in that 300 mile per hour club. And I got to join him. And that was pretty neat to be able to be up there on the top of the heap like that.
Earlier this year, they brought back a specialty race that's going to be concluded in the U.S. Nationals. It began in Gainesville, but due to weather, it got pushed back. But you won the very first specialty race at the Winston Noble Challenge in 1999 when you were selected and then went on to win the O'Reilly Nationals.
Yeah, that was fun. They drew our name out of a hat, basically, that Winston Noble Showdown or whatever. And they drew your name out of the hat before the race. And then they said, hey, if you win the race, we're going to give you, it was like $100,000 or something. It was a pretty big amount. And we pulled it off. beat Joe Amato in the final round, and just had a really great day at the races. And yeah, I was the only top field drag racer to ever win that. So that was pretty impressive. Pretty good day.
Fast forward to 2008. You competed. You were away from your family. You get the unfortunate call that your sons were in an accident, and after that, you come up with this idea to start Breaks. And now it's a nonprofit organization that helps prevent injuries for kids, and you have programs all around the country. You did 40, I think it was 45, 46 states, 5 countries that you've had done this um, program at. Could you talk about starting the program to help these kids, these teenagers, so they, like you said, they don't get, their parents don't get the call
Sure.
that you
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole reason why I wanted to do it initially was just to train my boys' friends. I wanted to train them about being safer drivers. And so in 2008, we trained about 50 teenagers, and just kind of snowballed because I had those parents calling me back saying, "Hey, I've got another kid coming along. When are you going to do it again?" So the second year, we trained about 100 kids, and then it just kind of snowballed into what it is. And I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to be able to recruit some really, really great people that have helped build the program along to where it is. And we're probably the leading national safe driving program for teenagers. And as you said, it's a charity program. It's free for participants to come. We require the parents to come with the teenagers. And it's a great learning experience, not only for the teenagers, but also for the parents. And it's a great bonding time for the parents and the teenagers. Hearing my story and figuring out the reality of how dangerous driving can be. I mean, it's the number one cause of fatalities for teenagers. So it's and people don't realize that until it hits home. But the way the program works is it's just been really, really incredible. And I think I'm making my boys proud on this, and hopefully saving quite a few lives along the way. So we're pretty happy about what's going on. And basically we're using DOT statistics to develop these exercises to teach teenagers about being in emergency situations that they can hopefully learn how to avoid or learn how to deal with once they get in them, once after going through our program.
I'll get to that in a second. I want you to touch on this. You said that you helped 50 teenagers in the first season, but at that time you were still racing full time. How did you do that on the off weekends?
Yeah, we did on off weekends towards towards the latter part of the year that year. Put some effort into just making sure that it got done. I figured it was so important that was a priority to make sure these teenagers learned about being safe drivers.
You touched on the exercises and the emergency exercises. A lot of them are speed. A lot of a lot of accidents overall are due to speed. A lot of them are from losing control, either from the rain or careless driving. Could you tell our audience the exercises that you put on for the program?
Sure. We've got basically 5 different stations that we do. One is a crash avoidance course that we're kind of teaching them how to avoid a crash. Like if you're following behind a car and a refrigerator falls off the truck in front of you, what are you going to do? Well, if you've got your mirrors adjusted properly and you're aware of what's going on around you, you can just swerve around it because you're not going to be able to stop in time to avoid hitting. So we're kind of teaching them about situational awareness, but crash avoidance is a big thing. And slalom, where they kind of teenagers tend to drive generally in the middle of the lane instead of in the center, basically where they're in the middle of the lane. And so you're kind of hanging off to the side and your side of your car is hitting the mailbox or whatever over here. So we're kind of teaching them about where the corners of the car are. We have them back up because a big percentage of, small fender bender crashes are backing up or parking lots and stuff like that. We talk a lot about distracted driving because distracted driving is one of the top problems, especially nowadays, right? Everybody's got a phone they carry around,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it causes major distraction. So distraction is a big thing. Panic stopping is a big one. We talk about analog braking systems. How do they work? What do they feel like? How can you best utilize that technology? Drop wheel recovery is a really big one, and especially in rural areas where you drop a wheel off the side of the road, and then how to bring the car safely back on the road without overcorrecting and going across into oncoming traffic or going off into the shoulder or whatever in the ditch. That's a big one. We actually have special tires that we put on the car, and we teach teenagers about skid avoidance, how to avoid a skid. And if you do get into a skid, how do you safely get out of that skid? And they teach you, right? You read in the book, steer into the skid. Well, what do you do then? Well, we teach them what to do then. Those are really the main things. And then really a lot of what we teach is just the ability to make good decisions, making good decisions that will keep you out of a bad situation. Your most fun friend in high school, right, is a knucklehead that gets in trouble all the time. Well, they might not be the best one to go out and go driving around with. And every additional teenager in the car basically doubles your risk of being in a car crash. So, just making some good decisions and keeping yourself in a smart position is really one of the things that we talk about.
But you see today, even not even like teenagers, but like people are just like stupid on the roads today. Like when I was traveling to Philadelphia area on Friday, there was this car like swerving in and out of lanes, passing everyone. I was like, I'll stay away from you. If you get an accident, you do that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's part of it is, understanding your surroundings and knowing what's going on and being able to recognize, okay, this person is a problem. Or, hey, when the light turns green, it doesn't mean you can go. It means you need to look and make sure there's not somebody coming the other way that's on their phone. They're not paying attention and they're going to run through the light and T-bone you, because at that
Right.
it doesn't really matter who's right or who's wrong. You're in a crash.
Correct. You stepped away from racing in 2009 to focus all your efforts into the B.R.A.K.E.S program. You raced 2 events that season. Could you talk about the 2 races that you did race in before you stepped away?
And yeah, I raced, I think about every year, 09, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, we raced a race or two pretty much every year. And then basically, I was fortunate enough in my career to have victories at, we won 6 times at Bristol. We won, I've won races at Pomona. We run races at Norwalk. I've won races at Memphis and Columbus and Topeka and Sonoma. And, I've won races at almost every different track around the country. And so I really didn't have anything to prove. And I just kind of came to the realization that, hey, if I'm going to race, I want to be able to race and go and win the races and win championships. And only racing a couple races a year, you really don't have a realistic chance to go out there and win the race and win championships like that. So it just kind of became, okay, I'm not going to go do this unless I really have a chance to win. If I'd never won before and it was a big thing and I was just kind of fulfilling my dream, but I've already been that, I've already been there, done that and all that. So it wasn't, that wasn't my goal.
I know a few years ago we had met at Albridge Township Raceway Park. We talked there. You had like a little booth there. Does the NHRA still bring you out to events to talk to parents and children about your program?
Yeah, occasionally we do. We've been so busy putting on events, like this year we're going to have over 40 weekends of programs around the country. So there's a little bit less time to do that than there was, but all the folks at Englishtown were great and had us up there. We had program, we actually had the driving brakes classes there at the track, and the Knapp family has been, pretty nice supporter of mine for years and years. And but the NHRA has been very supportive of what we've done over the years, and they've really helped promote the program. All of the executives at NHRA have brought their teenagers through the program, so they can talk firsthand about what we do and how it helps. And at the end of the day, I mean, what the NHRA was founded on was getting kids off the street and taking them to the racetrack and make it safer. And that's really, it's kind of evolved into the professional racing that it is now. But B.R.A.K.E.S is still teaching teenagers about being responsible on the road, and if they want to race, go to the racetrack. So I think that our what we're teaching goes along right with NHRA, what they do, and so it's yeah, I've had a good relationship with everybody at NHRA for my whole life, and happy to continue that along, as long as I live.
Have you seen any of your students in the program go on to race?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Corey LaJoy. Corey LaJoy came to breaks.
NASCAR.
Yeah,
He
Randy.
won yesterday, right?
Yeah, I mean, Corey LaJoy. I mean, like, he's big time. Yeah, Randy brought Corey to one of our very first breaks classes, and now he's a NASCAR hero. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Trying to think who. Kelly Earnhardt brought her daughter, and now she's a sprint car racer. Like, does really good in the sprint cars. And her last name is not Earnhardt, though. What's her last name?
Eldridge or something.
Yeah, Eldridge. Yep, exactly. Yep. So yeah, she came through breaks years ago. We've had quite a few. Yeah. So there's pretty neat. Really pretty neat. I mean, and some of our instructors, like Larry Dixon. Larry Dixon's an instructor.
Yeah, I was going to mention that later. And Steve Johnson.
Steve Johnson. Yeah, Larry Dixon. Ricky Rudd has brought his son through the program. Michael Waltrip's brought kids through. Gosh, I'm just trying to think. I mean, it's Terry Vance. Vance and Hines has brought all of his kids through the program. Had Brock Glover. We were talking about motocross earlier. Brock. I was at a class. I'm seeing Brock. Wait, Brock. Oh my gosh! I mean, like, here's a pretty big hero. Chip Foose brought his kid through a while back. I mean, there's, it's just really neat. It's just really neat. Doug Coletta, Scott Coletta's sons have both come through the program. It's just, there's a million good things that we have go on at the class, and really no bad things. And it's just, it's really been neat to be able to do what we've done. And I've had a tremendous amount of support from the racing community, whether it's drag racing or NASCAR. We've had a tremendous amount of support, and it's really neat to be able to do something good for the community and be able to give back a little bit of something. And fortunately, my experience in past in racing has been able to open a lot of doors to help us, with the racetracks. The Smith family lets us use a lot of their racetracks. The NHRA lets us use a lot of their racetracks. And NASCAR lets us use a lot of their racetracks to hold these classes. And so it's it's a pretty neat thing that we're able to accomplish here, and keep the roads a little safer. And like I said, make it so these parents don't get a phone call that I've received that their kids were in a car crash.
Doug, is this only at racetracks?
Oh no, we use fairgrounds, basically any parking lot. We use school parking lots. We use college parking lots. We use fairgrounds. Like I said, we any big parking lot. We don't need a racetrack. It just so happens that racetracks work out good because they've got big parking lots. So
correct.
And I've got connections. I know people at a lot of the racetracks, so that's helped us a lot over the years. But no, it's just coincidentally at racetracks, but that doesn't really matter.
What has your experience been with, like, the NASCAR guys that you interact with? On this show, I used a picture of you and Daniel Suarez, and that was from like June, I think it was. I got off your page. So what's it like interacting with them and having them out as well, instead of just the drag racing people?
Well, yeah, like I said, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? So this is like NASCAR capital of the world. So I'm friends with the Wallaces and the Waltrips and Danny Suarez, right? And the LaJoys, Ricky Rudd, and Earnhardt's and down the line. I mean, it's I guess it's just everybody's a racer, right? And if you're a racing fan, it doesn't matter what we're racing. You're a racing fan, then you and me have something in common, right? We can talk about. And I don't think it matters whether we're racing dragsters or NASCAR cars or go-karts. I mean, we've got something in common there, and it gives us a point to talk about. And it's, I think the racing community in general has been particularly supportive of what we've been doing here, because everybody is interested in keeping their kids safe.
On your website, it says that you have been to 46 states. What are the states that this program has not been to yet?
Gosh, Idaho. We have not been to Idaho. And like North Dakota, we've not been. South Dakota. And I don't even know what that last state is. Maybe Delaware or something. I don't know. I mean, it's like we've been to a lot of states. We've been to a lot of states. So we've had teenagers come from a lot of different countries all around the world. So it's been pretty neat.
Have you talked to anyone in Idaho, North Dakota, South Dakota about bringing your program there?
Idaho, we've actually worked on a lot. Yeah, we just haven't been able to get it put together quite yet, but hopefully we'll get that figured out here pretty soon.
And I'm sure with your schedule, like you said, that you do 40 events this year, you have to make it work where it's not on a weekend that you have already booked, and that's going to be kind of complicated when you already got so many going.
Exactly right. Yeah, we got to be careful. We can't triple book.
Yeah. Your program, it requires, while it says it's free, it requires a $99 holding fee for the family to make sure that your spot is reserved. For
Right.
those that don't understand, could you kindly explain that to our audience?
Absolutely. So how we started out, in the beginning, it was just free. You just know it's free, sign up, show up. It's great. Well, then all of a sudden we start getting a pretty big waiting list. So we've got hundreds and now actually even thousands of families on a wait list. They can't get in, because we just can't hold enough classes to teach everybody. Well, then we end up with several families that just don't show up, because when they don't have any skin in the game, they just don't show up. So we decided, hey, you know what? We're going to make them put up the deposit. And if they show up, they go through the class, they can get their money back. Or if they want to make it a donation to the charity, that's great as well. But it's amazing. As soon as we started doing that, guess what? They all start showing up too. So we don't end up with empty spots, because it really hurt my feelings when we have empty spots. So we've got the vehicles, Kia provides vehicles for us. We've got the vehicles there. We've got the instructors there. We're all ready to teach these families and teenagers, and then they don't show up. And we've got thousands of people on a wait list that would just do anything to be able to get into the program. It was pretty disappointing. So that deposit, making people actually have some skin in the game, has helped that program, helped that problem a lot.
Did you, after installing that deposit program, did you have some families were kind of like hesitant to like, oh, why they're free, but then you're asking me to pay kind of thing?
Yeah. So you got to explain to them, hey, we want to make sure you show up, but if you don't show up, then it's going to cost you. And they're like, so if I show up, it's good, right? Yep. All you got to do is show up. You can get your money back.
On your website, it says that this is a 3-hour course, and at the very beginning, they are instructed by you guys. You talk to them first.
Yeah.
Could you talk about like what a normal day is of the program when the kids come out?
Yeah, we used to do 4 hours, and we were losing them a little bit at the end. So we had about 45 minutes to an hour in the classroom. Now we changed that around where we've got about 20 to 30 minutes in the classroom. And then we lean on our instructors in the vehicles more. So there's 2 teenagers in a vehicle with an instructor, and we're going through these hands-on courses, and they're actually doing the teaching in the car. So we found out the reception from the teenager is a lot better when they're in the car, because if they're behind the wheel, they're having a little more fun. It's more interesting than sitting in a classroom
More
looking
interactive.
At yeah, they're acting on it instead of just looking at a video or listening to somebody talk. So basically, they're spending 2.5 hours in the cars with these professional instructors. And the instructors that we have are who I would want to teach my teenagers. That's who we have there to teach our classes. And they do pretty cool things like teach the Secret Service guys that drive the president around defensive driving, or, SEAL, they teach Navy SEALs of professional driving. They're law enforcement officers, they're race drivers. I mean, we've got some really, really high caliber instructors to teach these teenagers how to be safe drivers. So it becomes really interesting, and the teenagers get a lot out of it. And when teenagers are having fun and learning, they're paying more attention too.
Correct. You brought on Larry Dixon, multiple time NHRA Top Fuel Champion, and also Steve Johnson, NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle driver, to your program. Could you talk about working with them and having them out at your events?
Well, they've been, they've both been friends of mine for, gosh, Larry and I worked at a little hot rod shop out in California together back in the 80s. I mean, so we've been friends for, gosh, 35 years, so a long time. And Steve and I have been friends for 30 years, probably. Both of them knew my boys growing up. They've both been involved with the charity in some point or another. And then a few years ago, Larry brought his son to a class, and after the class, he said, "Hey, I'd like to be a little more involved. What would it take to be an instructor?" And I said, "We're going to put you through instructor training, and you can do it." And so, so that's kind of where that's been from. Steve has actually been involved for a long time. He's actually on our board of directors for the charity as well. So. They've both been a great asset to have involved with the program, and I'm definitely happy that they're my dear friends, and that they enjoy being involved with what we're doing and making a difference in teenagers' lives.
I saw on your website that you have a variety of different people, a variety of different backgrounds that are part of this. Like I saw that you have ESPN. I don't know if he's still on there, but you had on the website ESPN's Jay Billis for basketball. You had Daryl Gwynn. You had women from different backgrounds on there. You have a lot of different people that you brought together to be a part of this organization to help prevent injuries to teenagers. And how did you get these people involved? I'm sure over time you asked them or they applied, but they all have different backgrounds, and that brings different aspects to your organization.
Exactly. Well, and everybody that's involved on our board of directors or whatever have, like Daryl Gwynn's brought his daughter to the program. Jay Billis brought his kids to the program. Patty Wheeler brought her kids to the program. Everybody has a reason for being involved, and they want to be able to help and contribute and make a difference to what we're doing. And that's really, how a charity functions, by having people involved that that honestly we couldn't afford to pay them. Right, they're really high caliber of people, but they are choosing to help contribute their time to the program and help make it better.
Correct. I don't know if you still have this card, but you have shown pictures on the put on the break site where you have, I guess it's the top fuel car that has your son's memory on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How often do you bring that out to talk to people? Do you bring it out to the breaks events or just the specialty events?
We bring that to all of the breaks classes here in Charlotte,
Okay.
and we also take it to schools. We also take it to, car shows, stuff like that, to, kind of raise awareness about what we're doing with breaks, and to help get the word out and get teenagers asking questions. Boy, how do those boys get their picture on the side of that race car? Well, it's not exactly what you want, how you want it to be,
Correct. Also, in the put on the brakes, it looked like you had galas for several years. Is that coming back with COVID and kind of disappearing?
Yeah, we just had such a trouble here with our big gala of the last few years, and so we're planning on a gala hopefully in this fall. So we're working on that right now, and planning on having a big party, getting everybody together and having some fun and raising some money for a good cause.
Would that be in North Carolina?
Yeah, we've done them in California. We've done one before at the National Hot Rod at the NHRA Museum in Pomona,
Okay.
which was a lot of fun. But we only did that there one time, and every other year we've done them here in Charlotte at the here in Concord by the ZMAX Dragway, or down in downtown Charlotte, down by the Quail Hollow Country Club. We've got some support down there from Felix Sabatis and Rick Hendrick and the big shots in Charlotte, and so they've helped us raise some money down around the Charlotte area too. So it's all about those big gala events are really about raising money to promote the charity, and so that's we try and hold it at the best venue for doing that kind of thing.
Do you have a date set yet?
We don't. Right now we're working on October, but we haven't ironed that out yet. So we're hopefully we'll be able to get the word out on that and get it up on our website and promote it on social networks as soon as we know.
Where can our audience, if they would like to, donate to your cause?
Well, the best place that we have is go to our website. It's putonthebrakes.org. So putonthebrakes.org. Go there. There's all kinds of information about the charity on there. There's information about our, about our staff and our board members, and gives you an option to donate to help or sign up for registration. Find out about our schedule coming up. Safe driving tips for teenagers. So there's all kinds of. It's a wealth of information on there at the website.
When is your next event?
Oh gosh, this past weekend we had classes here in Charlotte and also in Jefferson City, Missouri. This weekend coming up, I know we have Raleigh, North Carolina, and I think Kansas City, Missouri. So we've got a lot going on. Pretty busy here, probably the rest of the summer.
Wow. And you split the team up to go to the different sites?
Yeah, we've got 2 teams that we run around so that we can we can try and cover 2 cities almost every weekend. And next year, Kia has actually stepped up their involvement, and they're going to give us an extra fleet of vehicles. So we're going to try and have 3 programs running simultaneously on every weekend around the country.
How, when you do the split and potentially 3 events going on at one time, how does that work? You'll likely have to add more people, correct?
Oh yeah, so that's the hardest part, is finding qualified people that that have the same goals and high standards that we have. And so we're pretty careful about training and picking the proper people to make sure things happen properly.
Where will they have to go to be an instructor? I'm sure it's on the website, but where exactly? What tab would they have to go?
Well, they would have to probably contact our office, and typically every instructor that we have is going to have some background in motorsports or racing or instructing, and then we put them through a pretty rigorous training program to prepare them to be brakes instructors. Or maybe after going through a few days of training, they figure out that it's not for them. So law enforcement, we found, are generally pretty good, but some law enforcement officers aren't cut out for being an instructor, but some of our best instructors are law enforcement. So it's hard to say, but we kind of handpick everybody to make sure that we have the absolute best instructors that are available anywhere in the world to teach teenagers that come to one of our classes.
So it would be somebody with experience. It wouldn't be like somebody's parent doing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, we want the instructors that we have are going to be really qualified. They're going to have a background in training or motorsports or vehicle dynamics or something like that. They've got to have some background in what we're doing to be able to, to be a professional, to actually teach at the highest level of training. That's our standard.
Okay. Doug, you said you got 40 weekends this season, this year. I mean, like you said, you got 2 most of the weekends. Could you talk about doing so many, like you said, where you have the 40, you're potentially going to 3 more. Like you could potentially go to like Idaho next year if you get that extra 3rd team, or North Dakota, South Dakota, and maybe you can come back to New Jersey where you did the one where I am. It allows you to do more, but when you get the more additional people.
Exactly. I mean, that's the most important thing. We had a pretty big meeting with our board of directors several years ago, and like, what do we need to grow? And obviously, right, you need money, but before you need money to go to these new places and hold new classes, you need to have people that can make sure that it happens. So we implemented a training program to actually train and cultivate our instructors so that we can make sure and have the same quality of program, whether we're teaching 1 kid or whether we're teaching 100,000, because that's really important to me, that we have the quality there. and that doesn't waver, however many teenagers and families that we're teaching.
Being a nonprofit, you got to have a lot of support. You touched on Kia's support. I saw on the website earlier that it takes about $500 to educate one student per weekend. Could you talk about the involvement of other sponsors, other donors that you guys have with your Put on the Brakes education program?
Sure, absolutely. Well, yeah, Kia is our presenting supporter, and they provide us with vehicles and funding to go to a lot of different cities around the country. We have private foundations. We apply for grants. We qualify for education and safety grants with states and with the Department of Transportation, which has been good for us there. Terry Vance, world famous Vance Hines, Terry Vance, and Terry Vance brought his teenagers and was so overwhelmed with what happened. Terry actually donated $1 million to Brakes a couple years ago. And I said, "What do you want me to do with it?" He said, "Keep doing what you're doing. That's what I want you to do." And it was just, amazing, the generosity and the support that we've received from everywhere. I think, having a parent, they bring their kids through the program, and it really changes their attitude, and so it's really neat that we're able to, accomplish that, and we're pretty excited about it.
Terry Vance, have you got any other former drag racers as well, outside of the instructors, but like donors to support?
Well, sure. Coletta, Connie Coletta was the biggest, one of our biggest first donors, because Scott Coletta was a big supporter and was friends with my boys growing up. And Connie Coletta was our first big supporter. He donated $50,000 back in 2008, which was a lot. That was a big chunk. Everybody from Don Schumacher, John Force, they've all contributed. Steve Torrance and his family. I mean, it's, the list goes on. I mean, Alan Johnson, pro stock racer Alan Johnson, he's been a big supporter for a long time of the charity. So yeah, I mean, everybody, we've had so much support right down the line. Rick Hendrick from NASCAR, Rick and Felix Sabatas have been incredible supporters. We were lucky enough, we get grants from General Motors, from Honda, it's just Chrysler. I mean, we've just really, because it's not, we don't have an exclusive, right? So it's not like, okay, we have Coca-Cola, we can't have Pepsi. No, the teenage safe driving is not just a problem that's right. One company, right? This is bigger than that. So we tell people, hey, we need everybody to help do what we're doing here, because this is a bigger problem than any one person can handle. So that's kind of where it is. And I'm really lucky that we've had the support from everybody across the board, but racing, the racing family particularly, for sure.
Well, Doug, thank you for your time tonight. Thanks for educating us about the Brakes program and how you are doing and making a huge impact in our communities by educating teenage drivers.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on your show, and look forward to catching up with you again. Hopefully in New Jersey, maybe in Englishtown or the Motorsports Park up there or something.
Yeah, we got New Jersey Motorsports Park. Maybe come there, or maybe you can go to Maple Grove, since we still got that. They got Kyle Koretsky and Kenny Koretsky.
Yeah, I'm buddies with Koretsky. Yeah, we could do. I'll call Koretsky and see if he can help us up there. I'm sure he would.
Yeah, in September. I'll be at that national event in September. I gotta miss the Saturday. I already know I gotta miss Saturday, so I'll just be there Friday and Sunday.
Sounds good, Anthony. Thank you, sir. Good to talk to you.
Yep. Thanks for your time tonight, Doug. Like I said, thanks for educating the teenagers and doing what you're doing. It's very, very important to you, as you know, to educate these teenagers, and it's a very important cause, because, like you said, there's so many teenagers dying today from car accidents. So I want to thank you again for your time, and good luck on all your events this season and beyond.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks for your time tonight, Doug.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.